I snapped my eyes open. The biting cold crept down my collar. The wind howled in my ears, along with my boyfriend Liam and his mom's nasty curses.
Chloe, you've hoarded so many supplies. What's the big deal sharing a little? So selfish.
Back in my past life, I loved watching post-apocalyptic shorts, so I got into the habit of hoarding supplies. When the extreme cold apocalypse hit, I kindly took in my homeless boyfriend, Liam's whole family. I gave them most of what I'd hoarded, but instead of being grateful, they thought I was holding out on them. When supplies started running low, they actually pushed me out while I was sleeping and traded me to the thug gang for half a bag of rice and a quilt. I was lying in the snow at -112 degrees, my body frozen solid. Liam was standing not far away, his mom shielding him. There was no pity in her eyes, only naked greed. And the backpack I fought so hard to protect only had a few packs of survival biscuits, my last lifeline. I gave you supplies. You wasted them all yourselves. I screamed with my last bit of strength, my voice so hoarse you could barely hear it. Liam snatched the bag from me and looked at me, no guilt on his face, only indifference. The wind whipped snowflakes into my face, cutting like knives. I looked at the person I once truly cared about, my heart aching like it had frozen and shattered. A sharp pain hit me. My consciousness started to fade. I thought this was how my miserable life would end. But when I opened my eyes again, I was lying in my own bed. Sunlight pours through the curtain gap, warm and blinding. I shot up. No cold on me at all. Just a little disoriented. I threw off the covers. 12:43, I went to the desk. Grabbed the phone on the desk. Screen was on. Date said the 15th of January 2026. I pinched myself. Hard. Pain shot through me, not a dream. I really was reborn. I was back 1 month before the apocalypse. Past life, the extreme cold apocalypse hit on February 15. Temperature dropped like crazy. In 3 days, it hit -112 degrees. Power went out. Comms went down. Food and water ran out. Then the thugs took over. The world became a living hell. I'd stocked up on New Year's supplies, but because I took in Liam's family, it still wasn't enough. In the end, they betrayed me and left me for dead. Not this time. I won't make the same mistakes. Liam's family? The ones who hurt me? They won't get a shred of kindness from me. I'll survive. I'll live well. I'll do whatever it takes to protect myself. Just then, my finger brushed against the ring. It was Mom's keepsake. Just a plain silver ring. With simple engravings. I've worn it since I was a kid. Past life, Liam had his eye on this ring. Said it was pretty. Wanted me to give it to his mom. But now, the moment I touched it, a faint warmth flowed into me. Then, a cold voice echoed in my head. Spatial warehouse activated. Bound. Host Chloe, infinite spatial replication ability unlocked. I froze. Instinctively, I focused my mind. In front of me, a pure white, endless space suddenly appeared. Like a giant warehouse, empty, but I could feel that this space could hold an infinite amount of stuff. I tentatively picked up a pen from the table. I focused and thought about copying it. The next second, I had an identical pen in my hand, while the original was still right there on the table. I then tried picking up my phone from the table. With a thought, the phone instantly vanished from the table and appeared in that pure white space. I whispered, 10. The phone in the space replicated into 10 copies, all lined up neatly. I was shaking with excitement, almost crying. God really came through for me. Not only did he give me a second chance at life, but he also gave me such an incredible special power. The ring space, the infinite replication ability. With these, I felt totally ready for the apocalypse. I took off the ring, and examined it closely. It was still that plain silver ring. But who would have guessed that inside this tiny ring was such incredible power? I think this was Mom's last way of protecting me. I carefully put the ring back on, and kept it close. I swore to myself that I would never let anyone want this ring again, and never let anyone hurt me ever again. Once I calmed down, I started planning. When the apocalypse hits, global temperatures will plummet below -130 degrees. Cities will be frozen over, power will go out, water will freeze, zombies will be everywhere. A fixed home is the biggest target. In my past life, so many people hid in their homes. Either they froze to death, or zombies broke through their doors, or they ran out of supplies, and killed themselves in despair. It's about driving an RV. I've always had a dream, to travel the world in an RV. And see all the sights. Now that I think about it, an RV is basically the perfect fortress in the apocalypse. Mobile, able to avoid being tracked, well sealed, can withstand the cold and zombies. With the right modifications, it can become a mobile safe fortress. And inside the space, it can hold enough supplies. And there's room to rest and have fun. Enough for me to survive safely in the apocalypse. And the first thing I need to do is to cut off any chance of Liam's family bothering me. In my past life, this downtown apartment my mom left me was the excuse Liam used to pester me. He came over again and again, pretending to care, but really he was checking up on me. Later, he tricked me into giving him the house and sold it for supplies. In this life, I have to sell the house as soon as possible, move away from here, so he can never find me again. Completely end his idea of bothering me. As for the starting capital, I already have a plan. I immediately opened my phone, contacted a real estate agent, and listed the house. The price was $40,000 below market value. Just to sell it as fast as possible. I didn't care how much I lost. Compared to being pestered by Liam and ending up miserable, this loss is nothing. 3 days later, the house sold smoothly. I got $160,000. Looking at the number in my bank account, I knew in my heart this money was far from enough. But I didn't panic, because I remembered something from my past life. In his past life, Liam was a total lottery fanatic. Every day he'd spend a few bucks on lottery tickets, dreaming of striking it rich overnight. And just 5 days later, the lottery hit a $6 million jackpot. Liam was holding his own ticket and sobbed at home all day long. He complained to me countless times, saying he missed it by just 1 digit. It went from a $2 million jackpot to a lousy $2. Now that I've been reborn, I remember exactly the numbers he kept reciting. The $6 million jackpot is mine in this life. That afternoon, I changed into some plain clothes, put on a mask and a hat, and avoided the streets where I might run into Liam. I found a lottery store far from where I live. Relying on my past life memory, I recited those numbers word for word. The owner didn't suspect anything. He printed the ticket and handed it over. I checked it carefully again, confirmed the numbers were correct, folded the ticket carefully, and put it in my inside pocket. Then I turned and walked out of the store. Over the next few days, I waited for the draw while researching RVs. Since I need to survive the apocalypse in an RV, the RV's gotta have top-notch safety. It needs to be spacious and easy to modify. I scoured the websites of all RV brands, compared dozens of models, and finally settled on an imported off-road RV. This RV's body is made of military-grade steel plating, extremely strong defense, and tons of space. It's got a bedroom, kitchen, and bathroom. Plus, it's got plenty of power. Great for rough terrain, even icy roads in the apocalypse, it handles them easily. The only downside is the price. Just the base model is over $200,000, plus the mods and weapons. At least $1 million. And I only got over $160,000 from selling the house. Still way off, but no big deal. Once I hit that $6 million jackpot, that money won't be a problem. Over these past 3 days, Liam called me a bunch of times. I didn't pick up once. I know what he wants. He's just after my money again. Or sweet talk me into buying him things. In my past life, I kept falling for his gaslighting, and ended up losing everything: my home, my family. This time, he gets nothing from me. On lottery day, the winning numbers and my ticket numbers matched perfectly. After taxes on that $6 million, I'll walk away with $4,800,000. The next morning, I still wore my mask and hat, and sneaked to the lottery center to claim the prize. During the whole claiming process, I kept a low profile, turned down all interviews, and didn't give out any personal info. After claiming the prize, that $4,800,000 got transferred straight to a new bank card I opened. I didn't link this card to any social media, and didn't tell a soul. After cashing in the prize, I headed straight to the RV dealership. But on the way, Liam cornered me. He'd clearly been looking for me for a long time. The moment he saw me, he grabbed me furiously. "Chloe, I brought my mom to the city for a visit. I wanted to stay at your place for a few days. But it turns out you sold your house. What's that supposed to mean?" Seeing how entitled he acted, I couldn't help but sneer inside. In my past life, he was exactly the same. He never cared about my feelings. He just kept taking and taking. When his mom came to town, he'd never give me a heads up and just show up at my door. He treated my home like his own. He'd rummage through my stuff and boss me around. I swallowed my hatred. I pretended to be weak. I told him I had a terminal illness and needed a ton of money for treatment, so I had to sell the house to cover the cost. Then I begged him, hat in hand, for a loan of $40,000. The word borrow flipped a switch. The shock on his face instantly turned to disgust and caution. He yanked his hand away and yelled at me for wasting money, said he didn't want to be dragged down by me, and couldn't wait to dump me. Then he ran off like I had the plague. Watching his disappearing back, I dropped the act. All that was left was cold calm. Liam will probably never know that the $2 million prize he was so close to getting ended up in the hands of the person he most wanted to screw over. And he'll never know that those $6 million would be my ticket to surviving the apocalypse. And he'll just end up like in our past life, heading straight for destruction, driven by greed and selfishness. After shaking off Liam, I didn't waste a second. I immediately contacted the RV dealership and paid in full for the big off-road RV I'd picked out earlier. On the day I picked it up, I drove straight to the custom auto shop I'd set up. The guys there know more about protective mods. And they're better at keeping their mouths shut. I said I was heading to remote areas for expeditions and needed to handle wild animals and extreme weather. So I laid down strict mod requirements and I gave them an ultimatum. They had to get it done in 2 days. Meet my standards, double pay, late, nothing. I'd already locked in the mod plan. I skipped the usual security upgrades. Every detail was built for the apocalypse. The body wasn't bank vault material. Instead, I went with lighter, tougher military-grade composite armor plating. It can take bites and ramming from wild animals, even small explosions. Windows got double laminated bulletproof glass. Not only do they stop bullets, but they also keep out the extreme sub-zero temperatures. Outside the glass, I added retractable alloy security shutters. When not in use, they stay closed, block wind and snow, and hide any movement inside, so no one outside can see us. I also had 16 cameras installed outside, so from inside, I can see everything outside with no blind spots. Then I had them install retractable alloy spike barriers around the RV. Normally they're flush against the body, so no driving issues. When surrounded by creatures, one button and they extend. And they can be electrified too. The tires are heavy-duty off-road run-flat tires, with reinforced inner steel rims. Even if punctured, they can still go for miles. The door was replaced with a single, reinforced military-grade blast door. Door looks simple, but defense is maxed out. Also has a hidden electronic lock outside. When powered, even heavy tools can't pry it open. Inside, there's a manual emergency lock, in case the electronic system fails and you're stuck inside. The mechanics saw my crazy mod requests. They thought I was a fugitive on the run. Some guessed I was heading to the border for illegal business. I didn't bother explaining. I just hauled out a few boxes of bundled cash from the trunk. I put them right in front of them. In a cold tone, I said, just do the job my way. You'll get paid. Don't ask what you shouldn't. Don't say what you shouldn't. Cash talks louder than you think. 3 days later, the RV mod was done on time. The modified RV looked big and tough, all black, with steel plates and bulletproof glass. It looked like a mobile fortress. Perfectly met my requirements. After the mods were done, I also picked up a set of the world's most advanced self-circulating water filtration system and a generator. I installed them in the RV to take care of the water and power. I also shelled out big bucks to hire an ex-Special Forces soldier to install high-power solar panels on the roof and a battery bank. Meanwhile, I installed 16 cameras outside the RV, so that from inside the RV, I could see everything outside with no blind spots. Sitting in my own RV, feeling the cozy warmth inside, looking out at the familiar streets, I felt completely safe. I had everything ready, just waiting for the apocalypse. There's a lot to do over the next 7 days. I've still got so much to do, so many things. Buy supplies, buy weapons, and get used to using the system. With the replication system, I don't need to buy too many supplies at once. Saves time, and won't draw attention. I just need to buy one set, then use the system to make countless copies, and just stash them in the space. From watching post-apocalyptic shorts, I made a list, broken into several categories, and started scurrying around the city like an ant hauling supplies. Soon enough, I'd bought all the supplies I needed. When no one was around, I willed it, and the system in my head kicked in instantly. A few packs of survival biscuits in front of me instantly turned into hundreds, stacked neatly in the space. A few cups of instant noodles turned into hundreds, piled up in a corner of the space. Self-heating rice and canned goods were copied over and over, all sorted and stored away. Anti-inflammatories, antibiotics, bandages, they formed a small mountain. Anti-inflammatories, antibiotics, bandages, they formed a small mountain. Plus feminine hygiene products. That was enough to last me a lifetime in the RV. I got a fuel card, filled up on both gasoline and diesel in one go. Then I bought dozens of extra barrels, gasoline and diesel. When no one was looking, I copied all that fuel countless times, and stored it in the space. Enough to keep my RV going for years. Besides these essential survival supplies, I also bought some comfort stuff to keep me sane. In my past life, the apocalypse was dull and oppressive, full of danger. Many people couldn't stand it, and chose to end it all. I knew that in the apocalypse, you need more than just enough supplies, you also need mental strength to keep going. I've always loved reading novels and binge-watching TV shows, so I bought a ton of physical novels, and on my phone and tablet, I downloaded countless novels, TV series, movies, variety shows. In the end, I spent every last bit of my savings to get in touch with a foreign mercenary syndicate and bought a ton of firearms, ammo, and bulletproof vests, to make sure when I run into zombies and bad guys, I'd have a fighting chance. For the next 10 days, I stopped running around and just stayed in the RV, getting familiar with the RV's features and how to use the system. Anti-inflammatory meds. I sorted all the supplies in and organized them by category. I set up a storage area, a medical area, an armory, a food area, and a daily supplies area, so I can find stuff easier later. I also tried replicating different things with the system, slowly getting the hang of it. I found the systems replicate stuff really fast, and the copies are exactly like the originals, no difference at all. The daily replication limit's been slowly going up, from 100 items to 200. I'm sure as the system upgrades, the limit will keep going up. During that time, I went to the supermarket once to grab some snacks. When I got to the snack aisle, I suddenly spotted a familiar figure. It was Liam, and he had his arm around some young, pretty girl. Must be his new girlfriend. Liam saw me too, and a flicker of surprise crossed his face. Then it turned into a sneer. He walked up to me with his new girlfriend, deliberately showing off to me. What are you doing here? Buying snacks. I thought you'd run out of money for treatment and starve to death already. His new girlfriend looked me up and down too, her eyes full of disdain and contempt.
Liam, so this is the ex you mentioned. She doesn't look like much, dressed so plain, and buying such cheap snacks.
Liam smirked, his tone even more sarcastic.
You bet. A dying person still so greedy for food. Not like you, babe. I'm taking you on a vacation to the beach, to eat the best and stay in the best places.
Watching their fake, arrogant attitude, I didn't feel a single ripple in my heart, only cold hatred. I ignored them, just picked up a few bags of snacks, turned around and left. Liam was still shouting behind me, Sarah.
Don't go. Don't you want me to lend you some money? So you can buy something nice to eat and enjoy your last days.
I didn't look back, just quickened my pace. Getting tangled up with people like him would only waste my time. The apocalypse is coming, and their good days are numbered too. I sat on the sofa, turned on the projector, played a movie I like, then took out a bag of nuts, eating while watching. Looking at everything in front of me, my heart was filled with a sense of security. In this life, I have the ring space, infinite replication ability, a sturdy RV fortress, and enough supplies. I no longer have to fear the onset of the apocalypse, or fear being betrayed and abandoned. Days passed, the apocalypse was just around the corner. The temperature began to drop slowly. From over 50 degrees down to the 30s. People on the streets started wearing thick clothes. The news started broadcasting cold weather warnings, reminding citizens to stay warm and hoard supplies. But most people didn't take it seriously. At that time, it was just another ordinary winter. People went to work, school, and lived their lives, not realizing that a devastating disaster was about to hit. The night before the apocalypse hit, I parked my RV in a remote parking lot. There were very few people here, and it had a wide, open view. It wasn't easy to be spotted. Even if danger came, I could drive away in time. I checked all the functions of the RV, made sure the high-voltage grid, surveillance system, and heating system were all working properly. I also checked the supplies and weapons in the space, making sure everything was fine. I finished washing up, changed into comfy pajamas, and lay down on the big bed in the bedroom. Though I was a little nervous, I felt calm and full of anticipation. I closed my eyes, and in my mind, I recalled every moment since I was reborn. I thought of Mom's smile, and Liam's hypocrisy and cruelty. In this life, I'm gonna live well, not just survive, but thrive. I don't know how long I slept. A sharp cold jolted me awake. I sat up abruptly, shivering all over. Even with the heating system on, the temperature inside the car had dropped a lot. I hurried to the living room, and glanced at the thermometer. The number on the screen freaked me out, -130 degrees. The apocalypse is here. I walked to the window. I lifted a corner of the curtain and looked outside. All I saw was white snow. The entire city was covered in ice and snow. There wasn't a single pedestrian on the streets. Not a single vehicle. Only thick snow. And some people frozen into ice sculptures. They must have been on their way when the sudden extreme cold froze them, and on the TV, there were no normal programs anymore. Only static. Occasionally, an emergency broadcast would cut in. Emergency notice, global temperature has plummeted. It has dropped below -130 degrees. All citizens are advised not to go outside. Stay indoors. Close doors and windows. Take cold protection measures. Emergency notice. Unidentified mutated creatures have appeared in the city. Suspected zombies. All citizens are advised not to open doors. Do not approach windows. Protect yourself. The broadcast voice was urgent. Full of panic, I turned off the TV. I leaned back on the sofa. I closed my eyes. I knew the days ahead would be tough. I had made all the preparations. I was confident I could live well in this apocalypse. Sure enough, not long after, something moved on the surveillance screen. The extreme cold apocalypse has arrived. The surveillance alarm on my RV suddenly went off. On the screen, 4 men showed up around the RV. They kept circling the RV, checking it out, and they were saying something. One of them walked up to the RV door. He started banging on it. He was screaming at whoever was inside. Open up now, hand over your supplies, or we'll smash this RV to pieces. I sat in front of the surveillance screen, staring at them coldly. These guys must be the thugs of the apocalypse, living off stealing from others. In my past life, people like this robbed me. I almost froze to death because of it. This time, I won't let them get away with it. I didn't open the door. I didn't say a word. I just flipped the switch for the high voltage grid. Instantly, high voltage shot around the RV. The man who was pounding on the door accidentally touched it and was knocked out cold. He collapsed in the snow, convulsing all over. The other 3 men were shocked. Fear showed on their faces. They all backed away, too scared to come near the RV again. The 3 men hesitated for a long time and finally gave up. They glanced at the man lying in the snow, didn't care at all, turned and ran. They quickly disappeared into the vast white snow. I looked at the unconscious man on the surveillance screen and looked away coldly. In the apocalypse, it's the law of the jungle, survival of the fittest. Since he dared to come after my supplies, he had to be ready to pay the price. Over the next few days, I stayed inside the RV, never going out. Every day, I'd check the surveillance screen, keeping an eye on the area around the RV. Occasionally, I'd hear zombies roaring outside, and people screaming. I knew the world outside was in complete chaos. I ate on schedule every day, slept on schedule. In my free time, I'd read novels, read books, or organize the supplies in the space. Sometimes I'd also open the system and try to duplicate a few things, getting used to how it works. The system was slowly upgrading, the space kept getting bigger, and the duplication limit kept rising. Now I can duplicate 500 items a day. On the 5th day, there was activity around the RV again. I shot up. Rushed to the monitor. Took a closer look. It was Liam. He had 5 or 6 people behind him. All looked mean. Carrying machetes, axes, crowbars, the works, marching straight for my RV, all in thick padded jackets. And empty bags in hand. Obviously here to steal my supplies. He had his new girlfriend by his side. Smug and arrogant as hell. I didn't freak out. I stayed calm and walked to the control panel. And turned on the defense system, defense mode. Reinforced the security bars and barbed wire. Then I went to the hidden storage compartment underneath. Grabbed a shotgun and a knife. Loaded the shotgun. Ready to fight. Soon, Liam and his thugs reached my RV. Liam pounded on the RV door. And screamed, "Chloe.
Open up. I know you're in there. Be smart and open the door. Hand over the supplies." One of the thugs behind him brandished his machete and cursed like crazy.
When I didn't respond, he smashed his axe against the RV's steel plating, making loud banging sounds. The RV shook a little. Liam glared at the closed door. Looking impatient. His voice went cold.
"Chloe, I'm warning you for the last time. Open the door. Now, hand over the supplies."
In his past life, he was just as greedy and selfish. Whenever he saw someone with something good, he wanted to take it for himself. In this life, he still hasn't changed. I didn't open the door. I just pressed the intercom button on the monitor. Coldly, I said, "Liam, don't waste your breath. Or don't blame me if I get nasty." Liam let out a cold laugh. His tone grew even more arrogant.
"Chloe, who do you think you are? With just this RV of yours and your little skills, you think you can stop us? Let me tell you, I already know that you knew the apocalypse was coming. You hoarded a lot of supplies. And you also have a space that can hold a ton of stuff. Remember how you used to love watching post-apocalyptic shorts?"
Liam paused.
"I've thought you were off for a long time. You suddenly sold your perfectly good house right before the apocalypse, and you've been avoiding me. Now that I think about it, you must have known about the apocalypse in advance. You deliberately sold the house to prepare for the apocalypse."
I sneered. Liam, you think having a few guns makes you tough? You think you can break into my modified RV? In your dreams. Liam was completely enraged. At Liam's command, his men immediately sprang into action. They swung their machetes, axes, and crowbars, smashing like crazy, trying to smash through the RV's steel plating and doors. But they clearly underestimated the RV's defenses. Although their weapons were sharp, trying to smash through steel plating and bulletproof glass was a total pipe dream. After bashing for a while, the RV's body and doors remained completely unmoved. Instead, it left their hands numb from the vibration. As I watched their pathetic figures on the monitor screen, a cold smirk curled on my lips. Liam, this is just the beginning. Next, I'll show you what despair really means. I walked to the armory. Grabbed a machine gun. Walked to the window. I hit the one-way firing button. Back when I had the RV customized, I specifically asked for it. You can only shoot out from inside. They can't see inside at all. And they can't shoot in either. I aimed at a guy smashing the RV. I squeezed the trigger. A shot rang out, the man dropped. He hit the snow, instantly turned into an ice sculpture. The others froze. Terror spread across their faces. They all stopped. Looking around wildly. Trying to find the shooter. But they couldn't see me. The crowd panicked. Many tried to run. Liam saw that. And immediately roared. "Don't run, nobody runs. The shooter's in the RV. If we keep smashing, we'll force him out." But no one listened. They were already scared out of their minds. They all turned and ran. Soon only Liam and his new girlfriend remained. Plus a few braver ones. I didn't stop. I kept aiming. Squeezed the trigger. More shots rang out. The rest fell too. They hit the snow, turned into ice sculptures. Now only Liam and his new girlfriend remained. Liam was shaking with fear. His eyes filled with fear and despair. He held his new girlfriend tight. Backing away slowly. Not daring to get closer to the RV. I kept my aim on Liam. I'm gonna kill him, get rid of this problem once and for all, and make him pay for what he did, but just as I'm about to pull the trigger, suddenly a blood-curdling roar comes from the distance. I look through the monitor screen, and spot a horde of zombies charging this way. Liam hears the zombies roar too. He whips around and sees the zombies charging toward him. He's terrified out of his mind, and doesn't even bother begging me anymore. He grabs his new girlfriend and turns to run, running like a scared rabbit. I don't go after them, or fire a shot, as I know that even if I don't kill him, he won't escape the zombies' claws. In the apocalypse, a selfish bastard like him, a coward scared of death, will end up as zombie food, or get killed by someone else. I walk up to the monitor screen, keeping a close eye on the zombies. The zombies swarm around the RV, circling and roaring non-stop, and use their claws to scratch at the RV's body and windows. But their claws can't even scratch the RV's body or windows, only leave shallow scratches. The high-voltage grid is still on. Some zombies accidentally touch the RV and get zapped, knocked out instantly, collapsing into the snow, soon swarmed by the others. The zombies bite and tear ferociously, but they can't break into my RV. As long as I'm inside the RV, I'm safe. 20091997 I still manage to get through it. I know this is just a small bump in the apocalypse. More dangers are waiting for me ahead. Right then, the mechanical system voice echoes in my head. Host has successfully withstood attacks from humans and zombies. Side quest completed. System upgrade initiated. New feature unlocked. Spatial farming. I froze for a moment. Then I was over the moon. Spatial farming. It means I can grow crops in the space. Even if supplies run out later, I can rely on spatial farming to be self-sufficient. No more worrying about food. I immediately focused my mind and entered the space. I saw a patch of empty land in the space, about a few dozen square meters. The soil was fertile, and it looked perfect for growing crops. I remembered I'd bought some veggie seeds and crop seeds. I was gonna keep them as backup, but now they finally came in handy. I took those seeds from the storage area in the space and carefully planted them in the soil. After planting, I used the replication system to duplicate many more seeds and planted them as well. I knew with the space's help, these seeds would sprout, grow, and mature in no time. After doing all that, I left the space. Looking out at the vast white snow, I was filled with hope. In this life, I can not only survive, but also live well. I've got a sturdy RV, plenty of supplies, a powerful system, and spatial farming. I don't have to worry about any danger in the apocalypse anymore. Over the next few days, I stayed in the RV, keeping an eye on the surroundings, while tending to the crops in the space. The crops in the space grew super fast. They sprouted in just 3 days. A lush green patch, bursting with life. During that time, I also faced a few small zombie attacks, but I handled them all easily. Sometimes I'd use the high-voltage grid to stun them, and sometimes I'd shoot them. With each fight, I got better with weapons, calmer, and braver. But while I was killing zombies, Liam somehow found a new backer. His crew had better weapons and were getting ready to attack my RV again. These past few days, I've been clearing out the zombies wandering around the parking lot. Just as I was about to operate the drone again, to scout the surroundings, a few dark figures suddenly flashed across the monitor. I looked up, and my heart sank. 2 modified heavy off-road vehicles raced across the ice toward me. Black assault rifles were mounted on the vehicles, and even 2 compact grenade launchers. Their gear was several times more sophisticated than the thug gang Liam brought before. And the figure at the lead was still Liam. Liam wore a thick black winter coat, his eyes still full of violence and resentment. Standing beside him were several men in camouflage, wearing goggles, all tall and burly, with fierce expressions. The muzzles of their assault rifles gleamed coldly. The monitor's microphone picked up their conversation. Liam, you're ruthless. You actually sold your new girlfriend to the black market, to get our boss to step in. If we don't get the RV and supplies, the boss will deal with you. Liam's voice was hoarse and harsh, with a hint of flattery. Don't worry, no matter how strong that woman's RV defenses are, they can't withstand your grenade launchers. Once we get the space and supplies inside, I promise you'll get your share. I looked away, and gently pressed a button on the control panel. The drone on top of the RV slowly rose, with a faint blue glow, quietly hiding behind the ice mist, aiming at Liam and his group. I didn't act immediately, but slowly maneuvered the drone on top of the RV, quietly rising into the ice mist, and turned on the loudspeaker. I know you want supplies. My voice came through the loudspeaker. I can bring all the supplies from the space and join you. But not Liam. Liam's face instantly darkened, and he roared, "Chloe, don't try any tricks." I ignored his roar and continued, "Liam sold his own girlfriend for protection, so sooner or later he'll sell you out too. Whoever kills him, I'll give them 30% of the supplies. If you don't, I'll detonate the traps around the RV right now, and we all die together. No one gets a single supply." These words were like a stone thrown into a calm lake, and the camel-clad men around Liam instantly stirred. Tall camel guy was the first to raise his gun, aiming it at Liam, his eyes full of greed and ruthlessness. Liam's face turned pale, and he frantically drew his pistol from his waist, but before he could pull the trigger, a gunshot rang out. The bullet hit him precisely in the left chest and abdomen. Liam grunted, staggered, and fell onto the ice, and his body twitched a few times before going still. The bearded man steps forward. He kicks Liam's body. "He's dead. Chloe, we killed Liam. Give us the supplies, now." I watched their greedy faces on the monitor. My fingers quickly press the buttons on the control panel. The electric batons around the RV instantly extend. High voltage current crackles and leaps on the metal rods. The pale blue current illuminates the surrounding ice mist. "You want supplies?" I let out a cold laugh. "I was just using you to kill Liam. You think you deserve my supplies?" The bearded man and his crew go pale. They raise their assault rifles, aiming at the RV, ready to shoot. I immediately activate the railgun I stored in the space. The muzzle precisely locks onto them. A blue light flickers at the muzzle. That's a powerful deterrent. "Try anything, and I'll shoot." My voice remains calm, but there's no mistaking the threat. The bearded man and his men stare at the blue light. They then look at the crackling high-voltage current around them. They hesitate for a moment. In the end, they don't dare risk it. He spits hard. He shouts to his men, "Fall back. We'll deal with this woman later." They quickly jump into the off-road vehicle. They roar out of the parking lot, soon disappearing into the ice mist. I let out a sigh of relief. I get up and walk to the side door of the RV. I press the button. I open it a crack. I poke my head out. My eyes land on where Liam fell. My heart sinks. On the ice, there's only a pool of dark red blood and a few shell casings. Liam's body is gone. I quickly pull my hand back. I close the side door. I hurry back to the control room. I quickly swipe the panel. I pull up the surveillance replay. In the footage, Liam, after being shot, just curls up and fakes convulsions. When the bearded man and his men turn away, the moment I open the side door, he suddenly gets up off the ice. Ignoring his injuries, he staggers around to the RV's front door. He presses his body tight against the bulletproof steel plating, carefully watching his surroundings. I suddenly remember my past life. Liam's medical check showed his heart's on the right side. Those bullets just now all hit his left chest and left abdomen. They didn't hit anything vital. In the surveillance footage, Liam pulls something from his jacket. He unfolds it in his hand. It's a silicone hand mold. Liam wants to use the fingerprint unlock on my RV. So that's why earlier, after Liam noticed the RV had fingerprint unlock, he came up with this trick. Back when Liam and I first started dating, things would occasionally go missing from my place. A brand new lipstick, some loose change from the drawer. Every time I frowned and muttered about it, Liam would just pat my shoulder and smile, half-heartedly telling me that I was just forgetful, that I'd misplaced things, and not to worry about it, to not make a big deal out of it. Turns out, even back then, he'd already had shady intentions. While I wasn't paying attention, he secretly copied my fingerprints. Every time I was at work and not home, he'd use those copied prints to sneak in and steal things. But back then, I was naive. Blinded by his phony sweetness, I never once suspected a thing. He was careful. He pressed the hand mold against the RV door's fingerprint scanner, his eyes full of eagerness and cunning. Beep. Fingerprint denied. A cold error beep sounded. Liam's body went stiff. A look of surprise crossed his face. He didn't give up. He pressed the mold against the scanner again and again, over and over. But each time, just the same failure beep. He gritted his teeth. He pulled a slip of paper from his pocket and quickly punched in the code on the door's keypad. His fingers trembled from nerves and injury. But after pressing the last digit, it was still the same beep wrong code. He didn't know that my RV door has 3 layers of security. Fingerprint, passcode, and iris scan. All 3 are required, and after I was reborn, I'd already seen through his hypocrisy and greed. I reset the fingerprint and passcode long ago, nothing like my past life. That silicone hand mold in his hand, and that slip of paper with the old passcode from my past life, they are just useless junk. They can't hurt me at all, and they can't open this door that protects me. Liam stared at the unmoving door, the eagerness in his eyes slowly turning to violence and despair. He tried pulling the door handle, using all his strength, but the door stayed shut tight. In the distance, faint zombie growls could be heard. He knew he couldn't waste any more time. He could only shoot a vicious glare at the RV, then stagger off toward the parking lot exit, quickly disappearing into the thick ice mist. After Liam escaped, I did a full check of the RV. The railgun ammo was plentiful, the electric batons were working fine. The bulletproof steel plating and tempered glass had a few scratches, but they still held up. No damage at all. Check done. I summoned the space. In the dark brown soil, the lush green veggies and plump tomatoes were thriving. A flick of my finger, I fired up the replication system. I quickly replicated a ton of railgun ammo, survival biscuits, and purified water, restocked the RV's supplies. After packing everything up, I went back to the RV's living room. I sank into the soft sofa. The heater was blasting. Warm air washed over me, melting away all the chill. I picked up the tablet. I opened a novel I'd downloaded earlier. Leaning back on the sofa, I started reading. Days went by. 80 of them. The extreme cold weather outside showed no sign of letting up. It only got colder. The temperature had dropped to minus 148 degrees. More and more ice sculptures appeared on the streets. And the number of zombies kept growing. Plus, the zombies themselves had changed. They were faster and stronger than before. Their skin had turned from purple to a grayish blue. They looked even more terrifying. I watched the zombies outside through the surveillance cameras. I noticed they weren't just faster and stronger, they were smarter too. They no longer just wandered and bit randomly. Instead, they gathered together to attack human settlements. They even used simple tools, like rocks and sticks, to attack people and vehicles. I knew these zombies had evolved. They had become advanced zombies. They were way more destructive now. I had to be even more careful. I needed to prepare my defenses. I had to avoid being surrounded by advanced zombies. I checked the RV's defense systems, weapons, and supplies. After making sure everything was ready, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. Just then, the RV suddenly lurched violently. Right after, I heard crazy roaring and banging outside the window. It was more intense than anything before. I immediately got up and ran to the control room. I turned on the surveillance cameras. The image on the screen made my face go white instantly. Liam was back. And he brought a whole horde of advanced zombies. Liam brought dozens of advanced zombies. These advanced zombies are all huge. Their faces are twisted and vicious. They're holding rocks and clubs. They keep slamming into the RV's body and windows. Meanwhile, Liam stands in the distance, watching coldly. A sinister smile crosses his face. He actually wants to use the advanced zombies to break into my RV, drag me out, and let the zombies tear me apart. I watch Liam and the advanced zombies on the monitor. My eyes are filled with rage and coldness. That scumbag just won't die. He's so vicious. To kill me, he didn't hesitate to bring all these advanced zombies. The advanced zombies hit with tremendous force. The RV's body is shaking violently from their impacts. The marks on the windows are getting deeper. They haven't shattered yet, but cracks are starting to appear. I know if this keeps up, the RV's defenses will eventually be breached by the advanced zombies. I gotta think of something fast. To repel these advanced zombies and Liam. I don't hesitate for a second. I immediately power up the railgun on the RV's roof, and the stun batons around it. I open fire on the advanced zombies surrounding the RV. The railgun shoots out several blue beams. They hit a few of the leading advanced zombies. They let out a piercing scream, their bodies instantly pierced, and they fall to the ground. Soon they stop moving. They become cold corpses. High voltage electricity blasts out instantly. Several advanced zombies near the RV are hit by the high voltage, convulsing as they fall to the ground. Soon they stop moving, but there are too many advanced zombies. And they've become smarter. Seeing their buddies get hit, they don't back off. Instead, they charge at the RV even more frantically. They keep slamming into the RV's body and windows. I keep operating the railgun, attacking the advanced zombies. One by one, advanced zombies fall to the ground, but soon new ones rush in, surrounding the RV. The railgun's ammo is running out fast. Even though I can replicate resources infinitely, fighting those tireless zombies drains my stamina. I can't keep wasting time with them. I think for a second, and suddenly an idea hits me. Since these zombies are tough, I'll start with Liam. From the RV's fridge, I grab a few bloody steaks. I deploy the RV's drone. I fly the drone right over to Liam. Then I turn on the drone's loudspeaker and blast some loud music. The advanced zombies near Liam hear the loud music and are instantly attracted. They all spin around and charge straight at Liam. They roar wildly as they run. Liam's vicious grin freezes instantly. Surprise and fear flash across his eyes. He never expected that I would use this method to lure the advanced zombies right to him. Damn you, Chloe, you bitch. Liam screams like a maniac at the RV. He turns to run, but it's already too late. Dozens of advanced zombies reach Liam in a flash. They grab him with their stiff hands and tear into him without mercy. Liam lets out a blood-curdling scream, filled with pain and despair. He struggles, but the advanced zombies are way too strong. He can't break free. Soon, Liam's screams die out. The advanced zombies tear his body to pieces, leaving only a bloody mess. I watch the monitor screen as Liam gets devoured by the advanced zombies. I don't feel a shred of pity. He brought this on himself. What he owed me in the past life, he's finally paid back in this one. With Liam taken care of, I continue to operate the railgun and attack the remaining advanced zombies. One by one, the advanced zombies drop. Soon, all the advanced zombies surrounding the RV are taken out. After the advanced zombies are gone, I let out a sigh of relief. Then I carefully check all the RV's functions. I find that the body and windows have some damage, but nothing serious. The defense system's still working fine. I grab some tools and patch up the RV quickly. Then I restock the railgun's ammo. Railgun ammo. So I'm ready for whatever comes next. With Liam and the advanced zombies dealt with, I could finally relax and tend to the veggies and supplies in the space. Days went by. The veggies in the space were thriving. The fruit seeds sprouted and grew into tender green seedlings. Every day I'd harvest ripe veggies, tend the seedlings, and use the replication system to stock up on supplies and weapons, storing them in the space for emergencies. Just then, while I was tending the veggies, I noticed the peppers had changed. They weren't red anymore, they'd turned into transparent crystals, crystal clear, with a faint blue glow. I reached out and gently touched the crystal. A cold sensation shot through my fingers. At the same time, a pale blue translucent screen appeared before my eyes, and the system notification sound rang out. The space has been upgraded again. Pepper crystal is the destruction crystal for advanced zombies. Touch it, and it destroys them. Advanced zombies can be replicated. My fingertips froze. Wait, these crystals are actually advanced zombies? The destruction crystal makes zombies vanish instantly, without a trace. This means I finally have a trump card to take out advanced zombies for good. From now on, when I run into powerful advanced zombies, I won't have to waste ammo fighting tooth and nail. I just pull out these crystals and wipe them out easily. For someone like me who's been hounded by advanced zombies, this is amazing news. I carefully picked the pepper crystals one by one, and stored them in the space. Then I used the replication system to make countless copies of the pepper crystals. I sorted them by category in the space. I knew these destruction crystals would be the most valuable weapons in the apocalypse. Lin Xiaoyi's items, none. They can help clear the obstacles ahead. Lin Xiaoyi's injury status, no injuries. Lin Xiaoyi's emotional state, focused on eliminating the threat of advanced zombies. Just as I was studying the pepper crystal, the RV suddenly jolted violently again. I was just studying that pepper crystal when the RV suddenly lurched again. Then crazy roars and banging came from outside the window, more intense than ever before. I jumped up and ran to the control room, and flipped on the surveillance cameras. My face went pale instantly. A huge horde of zombies had surrounded the RV. These weren't like the advanced zombies before. 202403, they weren't just 45, tall. 22 AM CCT 31, 202403, 45, 22 AM. They were crazy fast, incredibly strong, and they could even use weapons. 122403, 45, 22 AM. They had machetes, steel pipes, guns. Some zombies even wore bulletproof vests. DCT 31, 222403, 45, 22 AM. They looked damn formidable. And leading this zombie horde, stood a familiar figure. His body was hideous now, his skin a sickly grayish blue, his eyes hollow and wild, and he was drenched in blood. But I knew him in an instant. Liam, he was still alive. After that advanced zombie bit him, he didn't turn into a regular advanced zombie. Instead, he evolved into the Zombie King. Now he controls a pack of powerful zombies, and came back for revenge.
Chloe, I'm not dead yet. I'm back.
Liam, no, or rather, Zombie King Liam. He let out a crazed roar at the RV. His voice was hoarse and piercing. Zombie King Liam turned to the zombies beside him, and let out a roar. A group of zombies immediately charged madly at the RV. They swung their weapons, slamming into the RV's body and windows, banging loudly. The RV shook violently from the impacts. The cracks on the windows deepened, ready to shatter any second. I stared at Zombie King Liam on the screen, and that pack of powerful zombies. My eyes burned with anger and cold fury. That scumbag just won't die. He actually became the Zombie King, and controls all these powerful zombies. Looks like today, I have to finish him for good. Otherwise, he'll just keep haunting me, bringing endless trouble. Without a second thought, I immediately activated the RV's rooftop railgun and the surrounding stun batons. I opened fire on the charging zombies. The railgun fired several blue beams, hitting a few zombies in the front. They let out a piercing scream, their bodies instantly pierced through, falling to the ground, and soon went still. High voltage burst out instantly. Several zombies near the RV got zapped. They convulsed and hit the ground. Pretty soon they went still. But these zombies were even tougher than the advanced zombies before. They were not only faster and stronger, but they could also take some hits. The railgun and stun batons could kill some zombies, but not as effectively as before. Zombie King Liam stood in the distance, watching with cold eyes. A sinister grin crept onto his face. He roared at the zombies around him. The zombies immediately changed their attack pattern. They split into teams. One team kept ramming the RV's body and windows, while another climbed up to the roof. They wanted to breach the RV's defenses from above. I immediately grabbed the railgun and fired at the climbing zombies. One by one, the climbing zombies got hit by the railgun, tumbling off the RV, hitting the ground, and turning into cold bodies. But there were way too many zombies, and they'd gotten smarter. Even when their buddies got hit, they didn't back down. Instead, they got even more frenzied, climbing up to the RV's roof. I knew if this kept up, the RV's defenses would eventually be breached. I immediately turned and ran to the RV's storage room, grabbed a bunch of chili destruction crystals from the space, and carefully loaded them into the drone's storage compartment. I filled 2 compartments to the top. Back in the control room, I quickly launched 2 drones at once. They flew through the ice mist and thick smoke outside, avoiding Zombie King Liam's line of sight, and hovered steady above the zombie horde. They hung in midair. I gently pressed the control button with my finger, opening the drone's storage compartment, and dropped the transparent chili destruction crystals, one at a time. The crystals fell from the air, shattering instantly when they hit the ice. They released a thick pale blue light mist. The mist spread quickly like a tide, instantly covering the entire zombie horde, including Zombie King Liam off in the distance. The advanced zombies covered in pale blue light mist immediately let out a piercing, agonizing scream, their bodies starting to convulse violently, and under the mist, their grayish skin quickly melted away, turning transparent, their once thick limbs and hideous faces gradually blurring until they turned into wisps of smoke, and vanished completely, with no trace of blood or a single piece of remains left behind, like they never existed. While Zombie King Liam was still putting up a fight, still roaring like crazy, his eyes full of resentment and malice locked onto the RV. He wanted one last look at me to launch one more attack, but the destruction crystals were too powerful, and his body kept dissolving rapidly until, along with his roars, he turned into a wisp of smoke and vanished into the pale blue light mist, leaving no trace. This scumbag who haunted me for 2 lifetimes was finally destroyed for good, gone from this apocalypse forever, never to cause me any trouble or any threat again. Once the pale blue light mist fully dissipated, I turned off the loudspeaker and operated the railgun to scan the parking lot, section by section, firing to make sure no zombies were left, and making sure Liam was truly gone. Vanished, with no chance of coming back, and only then did I finally relax. I slowly got up and walked out of the control room, carefully checking all the RV's functions, and though the defense system had some minor damage, it still worked fine, while the power supply and water purification systems were running normally, completely unaffected. Only the railgun ammo was getting low, so I needed to restock it fast using the replication system, and I also checked the RV's body and windows, confirming no major damage and no major repairs needed for now, since as long as I put on the advanced defense coating later, it'll be good as new. After the inspection, I went back to the control room, summoned the space, and activated the replication system, quickly replicating a bunch of railgun ammo, assault rifle ammo, and some materials to repair the RV, adding them to the RV's stock. Looking at the space packed with supplies, at the lush veggies in the field, and at the piles of advanced zombies and destruction crystals, I felt unstoppable. Liam's completely gone. All the elite advanced zombies got wiped out too. For now, I can finally live a peaceful life again, no more constantly watching out for zombie attacks. No more worrying about that scumbag's revenge. Every day I can just tend to the veggies in the space, no worries. Duplicate and restock supplies. In my free time, I sit in the RV and read novels, watch TV, cook a hot, steaming meal, and enjoy this rare moment of peace. But I also know, the danger of the apocalypse never really goes away. The extreme cold weather is still going strong, the zombies keep mutating. In the future, there might be threats even more powerful than the Zombie King Liam, but I'm not afraid anymore. I have my indestructible RV fortress, a powerful system, unlimited copies of destruction crystals, and plenty of supplies. That's what keeps me going. 2 years passed. The extreme cold weather ravaging the apocalypse finally started to let up. The thick ice mist dissipated completely. The thick layers of ice slowly melted, revealing the long-lost ground. Occasionally, faint sunlight breaks through the clouds, spilling onto the ruined land, bringing a hint of warmth. The wind is no longer biting. Little green buds are popping out on the branches. Everything is moving in a good direction. But zombies are still everywhere. They roam among the ruins, still a nightmare for humanity. These years, I've stayed in my RV fortress, tending to the crops in the space. At some point, the destruction crystals in the space changed again. They lost their original transparent blue glow, turning into warm white crystals. They no longer feel cold to the touch, but feel warm instead. Just as I was picking the new crystals, the system notification sound rang out again, still clear and gentle. Ultimate space upgrade. Crystals evolved into zombie purification crystals. Can completely purify the virus inside zombies, restoring them to normal human form. Retain their original memories. Supports unlimited duplication. I held the warm white crystal in my hand, gently rubbing it with my fingertips. Looking at the zombies wandering among the ruins outside the window, I made up my mind. Over the past few years, I've seen too many zombie tragedies. I've also seen the hopelessness in survivors' eyes. Now I have the power to save them. I have the key to bring order back to this chaotic world. No reason to stay on the sidelines anymore. I rushed back to the RV's control room. I turned on the communication equipment, pulled up the frequency I'd scribbled down earlier, the National Rescue Team's frequency, and hit send. This is Survivor Chloe. Coordinates: the abandoned parking lot west of the city. I've got crystals that can purify zombies. Requesting connection with the National Rescue Team. I'm ready to fully cooperate to save survivors. My voice came through the communication equipment, steady and unwavering. After a moment, an excited, hoarse voice crackled through. It was the National Rescue Team, surprised and urgent. I hung up, and immediately entered the space. Activated the replication system. A faint white glow covered the storage box. Warm white purification crystals multiplied fast. Soon they filled the whole storage zone. Countless, too many to count. I also pulled out a ton of supplies from the space. Survival biscuits, purified water, crop seeds, medicine, clothing, and basic building materials for fixing houses. I moved them all outside the RV, and stacked them neatly. I waited for the rescue team to arrive. Within half a day, the roar of engines sounded from afar. A well-equipped National Rescue Team convoy raced toward me. The vehicles had prominent rescue emblems. After the team got out, they saw me and the mountain of crystals and supplies. Shock and gratitude filled their faces. I didn't bother with pleasantries. I immediately showed them the purification crystals in action. I grabbed one, and tossed it at a wandering zombie nearby. The crystal hit the zombie, and shattered on impact. A warm white mist wrapped around it. The zombie let out a soft whimper. Its body went limp. The gray skin slowly turned normal. Its hollow eyes gradually cleared. The moisture on its body quickly faded. Finally, it looked human again. Its eyes were full of confusion and fear. The rescue team went absolutely wild. They rushed forward, carefully carrying the purification crystals and supplies. In the days that followed, I followed the rescue team, moving from one zombie-infested area to another, deploying purification crystals, saving survivors. Day after day, more and more zombies were purified and turned back into normal people. Some survivors, after being restored, immediately went crazy looking for their loved ones. When they found them, they hugged and cried. Their tears were full of the joy of finding what they'd lost. But others, after coming back, looked around, and found themselves all alone. Their loved ones were already gone. Their eyes were full of endless sorrow and loneliness. I looked at them, my heart aching for them, but all I could do was silently hand them a bottle of water, offering them a little comfort. A few more months passed, and the last zombie was successfully purified. The endless gloom lifted completely, and the weather went back to normal. Warm sunlight flooded the earth, plants grew lush, birds sang in the trees. The world that was once devastated gradually regained its life and energy. Post-disaster reconstruction began right away, in an orderly way. I also stepped away from guarding the RV fortress, and threw myself into rebuilding. I worked with everyone setting up temporary shelters, planting crop seeds, clearing rubble, repairing roads. Every day was busy but fulfilling. In the evening, after a long day, I sat on a flat rock. The evening breeze brushed my face, carrying the smell of grass and trees. I raised my hand, and gently touched the small silver ring on my finger. It was a keepsake my mom left me before she passed, and also the courage that kept me going through the apocalypse. My fingertips traced the smooth surface of the ring, feeling its warmth. A calm and peaceful smile spread across my face. The threat that had haunted me for 2 lifetimes was gone, and the chaotic world finally returned to order. The survivors gradually stepped out of the shadow of the apocalypse, and started a new life. Mom, I did it. Not only did I survive, but I used my own strength to save this world. From now on, there's no more despair, only endless hope and peace.